Keith, welcome to Go For Side Effects. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Kevin.
Today, what we're going to do is we're going to start off by first going over. It's easy to remember your name, by the way, because my twin brother is named Keith.
That's good.
Yeah. And so he's the evil one, I'm the good one. But no. So you were in the Army. So
Yes.
tell everybody, what years you went in, where you were stationed.
Well, when I was active duty, I went in to basic training in '86 and went to Germany 4 days after we bombed Libya back in '86. I was stationed in Bamberg, Germany until 1991. Right after Desert Storm, I got out of active duty Army. Then I joined the National Guard, Oklahoma Army National Guard in '97, and was two other times in Iraq. So I finished off a total of 21 years.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's no way I was doing reservists for the Navy for 20 years. Hell no.
it was different.
Right. Where all were you stationed?
I was stationed in Bamberg, Germany when I was active.
Okay. Oh, that's not a bad duty station, is it?
No, no, it's definitely changed. Well, hell, my old post closed down. I was kind of sad to see that.
Wow. Okay. Well, now here's a really good question for you on that. Did you pick to go to Germany or did you
Yes, I
pick
did.
somewhere else? You
Nope,
did, and you
I
got it.
picked. Yep. Of course, when I went in, I signed up like right after I graduated high school in '85, and that was when Reagan
Right.
was president, and they're doing the big buildup in Europe. So pretty much from my basic training unit, all of us who were active duty, all but like two of us went to Germany.
Man, y'all are so lucky. Man, I tried to pick when I went in boot camp. I went at 89, 93. And when I was picking, I picked Italy. Hell, they
Did
sent
you?
my little ass to Guam.
It's close.
Oh yeah, real close. And I was kind of like, what the hell? You couldn't put me, at least put me in the United States. I never picked Guam,
Yeah.
but they put you where you need to anyway. Okay,
Unfortunately.
so when you were in during all that time, and when you were in during Desert Storm, where all did you go to over there?
And
Yeah, in Desert Storm.
of course, we flew in just right after Thanksgiving in '90, and we flew into some port city. Hell, I don't even remember the port city, and waited for our equipment to come over because it was on a boat coming over to us. And then we went out in the middle of the desert. So I was out in the middle of the desert the whole time.
Holy crap! I was lucky.
Yeah,
I was supply ship, so I was out of sea, back in port, out of sea, back in port,
that's
and
kind of
so
boring.
yeah. Well, we were your supply guy, so
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And it's kind of funny because the biggest thing I think in the beginning when we first, I don't know about how y'all do it, but when we first pulled into port, there and Fajar and all them areas and Bahrain and started getting cargo, started, unrepping with everybody. Right before we pulled into the port, they made us all write letters. And then you had, write them home. So if something was to happen and you pass away, that person who has your letter goes home with you.
Mm.
And I don't know, did they make y'all do any of that stuff?
No, we did wills. They made us do wills before we left Germany.
Oh,
So that
wow.
was a little different.
Yeah. I mean, what the hell are you going to will? Your clothes? I guess. Well, some guys were married then, and,
Yeah, I was then through my
me
first
too.
wife, but she was German. But yeah,
Yeah. Oh, man, that's crazy. I know, like, I gave my buddy his letter. I ended up getting 5 letters.
damn.
And yeah, so I was sitting there thinking, well, if they all die, I got to go 5 different places. And I started thinking about that stuff. I was like, I don't want to do this, you
Right.
know. But the realization of it hits you.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Like I said, I was like 23, 24, and you're writing your will. It's like,
Wow.
oh, okay, yeah, this is real.
That is crazy. And I know that, like, whenever I was in, because you went in before I did. I went in 89, of course. You went in, a lot earlier. No.
Yeah, not a whole lot, but yeah.
Yeah. Um, but I did notice that a lot of people are now getting, trying to go through the VA, trying to get their stuff done. How's your experience with the VA?
My experience with the VA here in Tulsa has been really good. I've been really impressed. I went to the VA when I was living in Fort Worth area, and yeah, I didn't like it very well.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? What's the differences?
Well, I don't do any drugs. Never have.
Right.
Never will. But I had to do your piss test, and they came back and said, "Well, you pissed hot," and I'm like, "No." And it happened to be there's a PA who I was dealing with. He was a former Marine. All right, and so yeah, he and I kind of got into a yelling match. So yeah, it just wasn't pleasant.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So needless to say, I didn't go back there.
Now, what would they say you pop positive for?
They never said. That was the weird thing, and I'm like, hell, I gave him a list of medication I was on that had nothing, no narcotics or anything in it. It was just freaking normal meds
That
from
is
a doctor.
weird.
Yeah, yeah,
God, that is crazy.
yeah.
I, I know, uh, like, because I guess we always every 6 months had to take piss tests, but every
Oh,
time we hit Thailand or any of that stuff, everybody took a piss test, and I remember we all popped positive pretty much for opium, but we
huh.
also didn't know that their Thailand tea had opium in it, and all this stuff was in there. So I find that interesting. But pretty much all of us pop positive, and they've had to go figure out what it was, customs. And that's the thing I never understood. Why the hell you bring a customs on board our ship at that time?
Yeah.
So, all right, now we're going to get into Desert Storm. In Desert Storm, most of the guys out there dealt with oil fires, burn pits. And are you signed up with any of them registries?
Not yet. A buddy of mine actually, he's asking, talk to me about doing the burn pits and stuff, and yeah, I need to sign up about the oil fires. That was an interesting time. Because when we first rolled down into Kuwait, because I was on the left hook um, of the attack with the Second Armored Cavalry Regiment, and when we finally came down to Kuwait, when we first got there, you seen the oil fires, the smoke in the air. It was like a big ring of smoke around us, but the sky was still clear. And we were there for about 3 or 4 days, and it just totally engulfed the whole sky of the smoke.
Wow.
It was just crazy.
Well, I did a podcast a couple weeks ago on it and talked about with the oil wells being on fire. I believe it was 1.23 million miles, square miles, is
Yeah.
where the smoke was. And so to me, I was fascinating with that, and no telling what all he put in.
Oh no.
You don't know if he put in sarin gas. You don't know if he put in, anything.
Yeah.
So, um, and of course, we will never know. Our kids probably will know once we're all dead and gone. They'll come out and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, we did this." But
Probably.
yeah, and it's kind of like no difference with, and then the anthrax shot, which we all know. This is where my biggest argument is with anthrax and with this shot now. To me, if everybody wants to go get the shot, go get it. That's why
Right.
we served our country. We gave you that right to get the shot or not. It's totally up to you if you get it. But when I hear people tell me that the anthrax shot didn't harm people, then why is it when you go to VA.gov, they talk about 35,000 troops may have died from it?
I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it at all. I mean, well, it's just like when the air war first started. My squad leader woke me up in the middle of the night to tell me that. And I'm like, oh, great. Okay. Let me go back to sleep. But he goes, hey, you got to take this little chemical pill, this little white pill
P-tabs.
to help. Huh?
P-tabs.
Yeah. To help you if in case of a chemical attack. And yeah, hell, they were freaking experimental. They had no idea what side effects they were.
Wow.
And here they're making us take this damn thing.
Right. And I know like somebody on here, Jeremy Daniels just posted on there, tainted anthrax vaccines. From what I've learned and from what I understand is even, I think it was in 1998, the D.C. Circuit Board of Appeals and the court system there, the most liberal, came out and said you can no longer mandate that anthrax shot. So if people in the military don't want an experimental drug, they don't have to take it.
Exactly.
And which it should be that way. Which of course, I'll tell everybody, hey, I got the shot because of the conditions I have with my neuropathy, and I've also had coronavirus. But the VA doctor did clear me and say, don't get any more shots.
Wow.
Yeah, she said, you're good, you're done. Your antibodies are perfect. Leave it alone. And I was like, yes, ma'am. I'm not going to argue with her. I don't want to get another shot.
No.
But I didn't have any side effects. I was fortunate. Some people aren't. But, I mean, this virus that's going around has killed more people than that I've known in the last 2 months. And even vaccinated, not vaccinated. That's part I find strange.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like, okay, when we were out there, we didn't get a choice.
No.
And I'm sure at that time, with everything being experimental, they were like, look, it's better to give these guys this because Saddam has mustard gas, sarin gas, anthrax, he has all that. It's better to keep them safe than it is not to give it to him and he does a complete chemical attack.
Right.
And so, I think their intentions were good until they learned what they put in us.
Well, and they still haven't admit to what they put in us, and they won't.
Right. I mean, I've heard people say they got 6 anthrax shots in less than 2 weeks apart. How do you get 6 of them?
I don't know.
One of the guys that was first on this program came and told me that. And I was just like, how the hell did you get 6? I mean, they, automatic Article 15, you're out if you don't get it. And
man,
all the toxic exposures out there. One of the guys I had on, me and him were sitting there talking, and Fernando, and Fernando's a really good buddy of mine, and he literally has letters from the State Department saying, "Hey, you were exposed." And it came back, well, now you're not as exposed as much. Well, what the hell does that mean?
Exposed to what?
To chemical warfare, but they didn't tell them what kind.
I received that same letter years and years ago.
Right.
I don't remember when. And then exactly, I got another letter saying, yeah, upon further research, your unit wasn't in the area, which is
bullshit.
To me, it's bullshit. You know why? I remember we were sitting in Iraq, and everybody just started getting sick out of the blue. And I don't know if you very good up on chemicals, on your symptoms of it. You sudden headache, blurred vision, runny nose, excessive saliva, tightness of chest, vomiting. We had people exhibiting all that. Hell, the medics were freaking sick, throwing up, trying to treat everybody. And then they come back with this letter saying, "Oh, you weren't in that area." I'm like, bullshit.
Which is bullshit, because if you go into the VA, they literally have a post-it sign of all the areas of what oil well fires, exposure. So they have it up on VA.gov, but the biggest problem to me is there's two parts of the VA. There's the ones that are the doctors, the healthcare. Then you got the guys that make decisions.
Exactly.
They don't freaking talk to each other.
No.
At all. Because like they'll tell me, oh, don't bring this, don't bring that, when you go to vest and all that. We got all that information. Yeah, I bring it all. I bring a pill bag for my digestive system because I exhibited my symptoms within probably 3 months after the Gulf War. I've had a tube stuck up my nose, going down into my throat. They were pumping blood out of me. I was pooping blood, had blood come out my nose, my ears, everywhere. And they never could figure out what was it. Till this day, they cannot figure out what's going on.
Well, I belong to a group on Facebook about, I believe that's how you and I got in contact about Desert Storm veterans. And I've been reading a lot about that stuff, and a lot of people have, the same issues.
Right. And that's weird. It's not a coincidence.
No.
That all this are having. It's stupid. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my lifetime that, okay, all y'all have the same things. But what a lot of people don't realize, and which I talked to a guy named Jimmy, fantastic guy, it's the lingo. And
right.
It sucks that we have to use a certain lingo.
Absolutely.
It doesn't make sense. Hey, let's go to the VA and tell them that it's not, I was in the Gulf War, but it's not Gulf War illness or Gulf War syndrome or this. In which I did agree with Jimmy on one thing. These guys that are going in to file their claims, they need to prepare before they file. They need to be diagnosed by the VA.
Right.
If you get filed by outside doctor, guys, listen to me. Y'all still got to be diagnosed inside the VA.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the VA doctors down south in Texas do not like to put your diagnosis in your chart, in your progressive chart.
Right.
So I had to go to my congressman, Kevin Brady, and I was pissed. And I had a hit guy from VA call me saying, Mr. Simon, we're sorry, we're going to have all this in. Now I get treated totally different when I walk into the VA. And it sucks he's leaving office, so I got to vote for somebody new.
Right.
But for the most part, if Congress, if all of Congress, the president, the VA, and every single person out there would just sit down with the Desert Storm vets instead of saying this was a quick war.
Exactly.
And say, guys, what's going on with y'all? And which, of course, I talked about before, Denise and Jimmy and all them. There are advocates. They're the one going out trying to find the research, get the researchers in.
Yes.
Let's get everybody in and let's talk to them, and let's start finding a study. And they've done a great job. One thing about it, Denise always posting on Gulf War illness page on all of them, and she can put anything she wants on mine. I told her that. I was like, look, you go ahead and you put anything you want to. I don't care. But I think what a lot of people need to imagine is you're sending your kid, your spouse, your brother, your sister, you're sending everybody out to fight with each other, against an enemy that has chemical warfare.
And is not afraid to use it. Exactly.
And this is how I put it to somebody today, because I cut hair for a living, and you do not need a haircut, by the way.
No, I do not. And if you ask my mother, she'll tell you that it's because of the storm.
Really?
Yep. Well, I'm half Italian, and I'm the only.
Don't you have hair?
Exactly. I'm the only one in my family who doesn't have hair.
That is crazy.
Isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I had thick hair too, dude. It was real thick.
Wow. There is quite a few guys that I have talked to. I think one of the biggest thing a lot of the guys are finding out, though, as we get older, were aging faster.
Yeah, I can see that.
And there was actually a news report, which I was stunned that there was literally a news report that came out and said, "Go for vet." That I mean, it was broadcaster came out, and that's how I got hooked up with a guy named Steven. And she came out and said it was a doctor talking to him, said all Go for vets are aging faster than anybody else. Explain it to us.
Yeah, exactly. But they can't.
They can't. So, I'm like, well, this is about the craziest stuff in the world I've ever heard of. Is the stuff that all of us are going through.
Yeah.
But there will be help when we may be 90 and they may figure it out.
Yeah.
But, I just don't know what any of our life expectancy is going to be.
No, exactly.
And that's what I worry about.
Yeah. It's a shame. And it is a shame, like you said earlier, that we have got to use the proper language or verbiage to get something that we need to get,
right,
that we kind of deserve it. Because if you don't, then they'll just, dismiss it. And it's like, okay, I don't know what verbiage you're looking for. I mean, I had an advocate help me, this disability veteran that I went through Muskogee. So they helped me, but guys who try to do it by themselves,
no
you
way.
can't.
No.
You can't.
I started my claim back in 1995, and I just got it approved, but they only went back to 2015, which I still haven't figured that bull crap out. But in about a year ago.
Really?
Yeah. And the funny thing is in my diagnosis of everything I had, I was already connected with it in the Gulf. I was from the Navy. The Navy says this is what you're connected with.
Yeah.
And they finally said, "Oh yeah, you are now." So I'm like, what a bunch of crocker, shit is that?
Oh yeah. Like I said, it's just ridiculous that we have to fight for stuff for help.
Right.
You know
what? On here, Edwin brings up a good point because he says, "So what is the verbiage for COPD caused of the burn pit?" Yeah, there isn't one. That's the bad part. And when there isn't verbiage for it, the thing is when you sign up for the burn pit, and I recommend every Desert Storm veteran, get off your asses, go sign up for the oil rig fires and the burn pits. Sign up for both of them.
Right.
I mean, that's the best thing that you can do, because that's what they're going to go off of. And the best thing that you because like having COPD, they're going to say, "Well, did you smoke? Did you drink?" They ask you that every time.
Right.
Yeah. I walk in there, they're like, are you a smoker? No, I dip. Oh, you're a smoker. I don't know, I dip.
Yeah.
That's not smoking. It's like,
it's
come
different.
on. But that's the verbiage that they use. The best thing that I can tell Edwin to do, the best thing that I can tell him to do is when you file and for COPD, you prove you were in the burn pits. You show them that, hey, look, I was in the burn pits. I don't smoke. I don't do this.
Right.
This what needs to happen. And usually a 50-year-old doesn't get COPD at a young age. That's usually later on in life.
Right.
But now you were telling me about other problems you were having with your back and everything. Let's talk about that.
With my neck, just from all the stuff that we had to wear, the body armor, just basically fit a lot of the physical exercise that we had to do. When I was active duty, I was a 12 Bravo, which is a combat engineer. Working with explosives and stuff like that. So, we carried stuff heavier, more stuff in our rucks than other guys, and so it has deteriorated some of my discs. In fact, like I spoke to you earlier, I'm going to have surgery. Well, I'll go see my doctor the day before Thanksgiving of all days to schedule an appointment for surgery, where I'm going to get neck fusion, and he's also going to do something else, like cut some of the vertebrae, and then take some bone marrow from my hip and put it in there to relieve the stress that's on my neck. I mean, like I said, I'm in pain every day, and I know there's several people who are in pain, every day with this stuff, and it's just, it's definitely connected to the military. Like I said, I've got disability for it, so not getting, they're not fighting me on it. The VA's not. They're taking care of it.
That's great.
I was, like I said, or to you earlier, I was very surprised here in Tulsa how good the VA is now. In fact, we just got a new clinic built for us now. It's a lot bigger. Everything's located in one building, like Fort Worth. I don't know if you've ever been to Fort Worth, but everything's located in one building. We used to have to go to like 3 or 4 different buildings here in town. Then, of course, our primary is in Muskogee. Our hospital is in Muskogee. But now we're getting one built, thanks to Trump, a hospital here in Tulsa.
And then will you be able to switch your primary to there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, I got one that's not even 10 minutes from my house.
Right.
But if I have anything big or anything I got to do, I got to go downtown Houston.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is great. I mean, which is fine. I mean, I don't mind taking an hour drive as long as it's at a certain time and I don't got to sit in any damn traffic, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't miss Dallas traffic at all. Trust me.
No, but it's amazing though. Like you were sitting there telling me the difference.
Yeah.
The difference between Oklahoma and North Texas. I can tell you there's a difference between Houston and North Texas, but I'm finding out there's some VAs that are just terrible.
Yes. Yes. And you said earlier, that the Gulf veteran guys need to get off their ass and, register. And for me, like me, it took me many, many years because you always hear the horror stories of how long it takes, getting denied, having to fight, get a lawyer, get an advocate to help you fight for your disability. And a lot of people just don't want to take that time.
No, right.
Because it's frustrating. It's, you got to wait. And that's the hard part. And especially when I did mine, I just filed a couple of years ago. This is when COVID hit. So, it was even a little bit slower.
Wow.
But it still went through pretty quick though, compared, to the other, like I said, hearing other people just say, this just sucks, that blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I was fortunate enough it went through pretty quick.
Yeah. I mean, and then you hear my story, and it took how many, 20 years?
Exactly. Exactly.
And the funny thing is, it's not, as I told them, it's not that I want financial compensation. I want us to be connected. So that way, I mean, right now, I can work. I don't know how long I'll be able to work having neuropathy and all that stuff in my feet. But when that doctor looked at me and he goes, "Hey, Kevin, man, I got some good news. I got bad news. I know exactly what has caused your neuropathy. After the 6 MRI, CT scans, and everything else that they've done," he says, "your B12 spores, you don't have any anymore in your lining of your stomach. So I can't keep vitamin D or B in my system." I'm like, "Well, why?" And he said, "It had to be chemicals from the Gulf War." And I said, "Well, is there any way whatsoever you can put that in writing?" Nope. I came home. I was pissed. I was so mad at the world. It's just like, you're a VA doctor. You're there.
Yeah.
for us. But the funny thing is, he listens to this podcast because it's stuff they can't write down.
Right.
And it's true. They can't, because if they wrote that down in mind, that means 670,000 guys from the Gulf War are going to be able to write it down to be able to claim money. Exactly. That's why they do it. But yet, they'll put it right up. Go to va.gov. Y'all go to search engines and type in how many people were affected by the burn pit, how many people were affected by the oil rigs, how many people were affected by the anthrax shot. And they tell you.
Yeah.
But why do you think the VA, everybody gets all their old medical paperwork and everything they did in the military through St. Louis and, through the archives?
Right.
Believe it or not, the VA has all of ours. Why?
That's interesting.
Yes. That's where you get your stuff. You go in and you file through the VA to get all your medical records.
Yeah, you're right. That's how I got mine.
Yes. And Vietnam doesn't do it. Nobody else does it but the Gulf War vets. I don't know about the Iraqi freedom guys yet, but and hey, Edwin put down here, now listen to this. I have an advocate because 20 years I've had 10% for my neck. But this year they took it away. It didn't meet because the requirements changed. So the verbiage changes. I think that's what he's saying. He goes, now I'm fighting to get it back. Why? Why do you have to fight to get this stuff back?
Exactly.
And I bet you he's still going in and he's still being checked on it. And I'm not going to say I'm an advocate, okay? I want a podcast to let everybody get their voices heard. So maybe, you can call it advocate, call it whatever you want to, but they don't teach about Desert Storm in schools.
No.
It may be 2 or 3 days and then it's over with. They don't talk about the chemicals. They don't talk about any of that stuff. We were one of the biggest chemical wars that ever fought.
Wow.
And treat us like it.
Right.
That's all we're asking for. We're not asking. We would rather have the cure than money.
Yeah.
I don't think they quite understand that. I want to be able to deer hunt and all that stuff, all the way up till I'm 80 years old.
Right.
That's the stuff I want to be able to do. I want to be able to go hiking. I can't do that. I can't go hiking. There's no way. I could walk probably about a quarter of a mile, and then there's no way my feet wouldn't handle it.
Well, it's just like, another symptom of Gulf War is just being tired all the time.
Fatigued.
Just drained.
Right.
I mean, dude, I can sleep and I wake up and I'm still just dead tired.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, I would rather have a better life, so I can enjoy things.
Right. Well, have you filed for that? For
no,
fatigue?
I have not.
Oh,
No, I have not.
You need to. You need to talk to your doctor about it.
Yeah. Well, funny thing there, the only thing I didn't like about the Tulsa VA is I had a doctor and then he got promoted and went somewhere. Then I got this PA and I'm going to have to request a different one because I don't like her. I just
didn't are
drive.
a lot of your doctors PAs?
Honestly, I'm not for sure. But I did have a regular doctor and I liked him and he's the one who got everything rolling for me with my neck.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And, sent me, of course I'm going to a civilian doctor for my surgery. So, but yeah, he's the one who set everything all up.
Wow. There's a lot of the guys I'm finding out, well, especially like, I don't know if you've heard all my programs. I have about 20 of them about the Gulf War podcast.
No, I'm going to have to look into it.
Yeah. And I talked to a guy from Britain, a British guy, and he's probably on here listening. His name is Roy. I would tell you something. Last name Selstrom. We think we got it bad. Oh, hell, Europe's worse. I mean, you need to go in and listen to that, and you'll be going, what kind of crap is that? I mean, if they did that to us, there'd be a revolution in this country. I mean,
Yeah.
how they rate them and how they treat their veterans, to me, no way. But a lot of guys that I'm finding out, like, it doesn't sound like you, like me. I don't know a whole lot about PTSD. I mean, going through a war and the conflicts we've been through, the Southern Watch and everything that we've all been through. And when we get out going through a divorce, you're going to have some sort of depression. For me, I don't know if it's PTSD because I went to counseling right when I got home. I'm sure it was a form of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like Edwin put down, he's receiving, help for nightmares, insomnia. Well, Edwin, y'all gonna want to hear what I have to say about this one guy. So, this guy that I was introduced by my wife and my children about TikTok, and I love TikTok. I'm a grown man that likes TikTok. I'll admit it on air. Okay. So this guy named Sean Lowry, he goes by Sir Veteran Guy on TikTok, and I got to give this guy. He's younger than us. He was in the Army, and I tell you what, I was fascinated listening to this guy's story. He was in for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
His best friend passed away, and I'm not going to give his whole bio, but this cat is probably one of the best speakers I've ever heard about PTSD.
Really? I need to hear that.
Oh man, he wrote a book, and so if anybody's got TikTok, which most of us are in our 50s, most of y'all don't, or you got Instagram, all that, y'all need to go check out him on TikTok. It's called Sir Veteran Guy. The other one is Instagram is Real Talk with Sean, and then Sean Lowry, at Facebook. But he wrote a book in which I'm going to promote it on here more than anybody's book or anybody, because I listen to this guy every time he comes on. My phone literally goes bling, and this guy's on it because I have him tagged and everything. But he started a podcast, and his podcast, it's on Apple Podcasts. It's called From Struggles to Success. And this guy here, so any of y'all listening, this guy is a veteran guy. Y'all need to support and listen to him. I mean, this guy, his episodes are about, instead of being the victim mentality, pull yourself up, come out of it. And this guy's helped a lot of veterans. He's a true advocate. And I mean, unbelievable. And he's younger than us. He was in Afghanistan and Iraqi freedoms, during that time zone. But I'm going to really and truly push this guy to come on here and talk to me and let every veteran out there listen to what this guy has to say, because I'm blown away with how he talks. I mean, he's an elegant speaker. He's just the nicest guy I've ever met. I talked to him for almost 30, 45 minutes today. I mean, he helps a lot of guys out. And so I wanted to give him props, especially since Edwin. And I'm going to send you his information over. You need to listen to him. But the PTSD part, a lot of it has to do with the medicines we took, the PTAPs.
Yeah.
And
I've been diagnosed with PTSD.
That's right. And I mean, I learned a lot through this guy about PTSD, but I don't try to act like I know how to cure it because I don't.
Right. I
mean, this guy literally knows how to do it, and how he came back, it was incredible. And I hope you got a claim in with the VA on it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, good. And I mean, you guys deserve it. All of us do.
Yeah.
Anybody that is having problems out there really need to be heard. And that's why I'm going to build this platform. And this is what I'm going to do this platform on, is letting all the veterans be able to come on here and say, hey, look, I want to say my piece. I don't want to be censored. If I say shit, I want to be able to say it.
Right.
And I think that's the best way of doing it. But you definitely need to work on getting the. Now, are you written down in your anywhere in your progress notes about fatigue at
Yes.
all?
Yes.
File it. You definitely. I mean, if it shows you're fatigued and everything, you need to file it.
Okay.
I mean, get it in there. If it's in your progress notes and they're treating you for it, well, I don't know what they're doing for you. With
Nothing.
me, I get B12 shots. And
See, I've been diagnosed with low B12.
see, now ain't that funny?
Actually, vitamin D. Vitamin D is what I've been diagnosed with low.
Well, if you're low on vitamin D, you're low on vitamin B.
Really?
Yes. I'm going to let everybody know I learned that through my neurologist. Mine got so low that it was at 70.
Damn.
Yeah, it could have killed me. I mean, I was literally behind a barber chair, holding myself up, cutting hair. I'm not lying. And when I walked, I was putting this cold pack stuff on my feet. And finally, when they figured it out, it was like, they were like, you're coming in once a week. Boom, boom. They're giving me shots just to get it back up. It maintains right now, it's supposed to be over 200. Mine maintains, and I do it every other week, about 300 to 400 instead of 800 like most people are.
Right.
That's how fast I drain because I can't hold it. And that's also due because of IBS. So it's considered a secondary. So that's what's good about do you have a VSO officer, like a veteran service?
Yeah. I'm sure I don't know who it is, but yes.
Yeah, y'all use your state representatives. That's what they're there for. If the way I was taught about, with veteran services over DAV, which a lot of people like DAV, and I really haven't dealt with DAV, but VSO is your state rep. If they're there for you, and I mean mine, she is the best I've ever had.
That's good.
Yeah. And I've been doing with her for 30 years, ever since I gotten out. So definitely. Hey, Jason just wrote in, it took me 7 years fighting to get my 100%. I changed reps multiple times. For me, it just took finding a rep that wanted to fight for me. And that's true. And there are some bad reps.
Yeah, oh, yes.
And I mean, anybody out there having a problem, message me, and I'll get you a hold of a guy. And I do help people find representatives in their area that will sit there and help them and fight for them, because that I'm going to call them out on this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
need to.
Yeah.
You need to. You know.
I mean, because it's just a bunch of crap. There is, if we served our country and we served it proudly, I would still go back in today.
Absolutely.
I have no regrets whatsoever for serving my country. The only thing I have a regret is just take care of what y'all cost.
Right.
And that's it. I mean, that's plain and simple. And so,
yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? I see them wheels turning.
No, I'm good. I mean, I might have to hit you back up again.
Yeah, no, I want you to. And I welcome anybody that wants to come on this program.
Yep.
And I couldn't believe how well my phone blew up after I posted that. I was like, I was overwhelmed. But
well,
I want to get everybody on here. I want everybody. And I want the kids to be able to walk in school going, well, hey, wait, I listened to a real podcast about Desert Storm, the Gulf War, and we want to know about this.
Right.
And that's why I want this also be targeted for the younger generation, so it can be a learning experience.
Absolutely.
And having you guys coming on, man, I really truly 100% appreciate it.
I appreciate you doing this. I mean, it is time for us to get our voices out. The Vietnam vets got screwed over bigger and shit.
Yes, they did.
Fortunately, we didn't have any of this technology to get the voices out. But now we do. Now we can start pushing.
Right. And we're going to push hard.
Yeah.
And we're going to keep pushing. But I'm about to let you go because I think we cleared up everything. But I want everybody to stay on Facebook. I want y'all. What's up, Steven? Steven's one of the guys that I talked to, the one I'm telling you. So I'm going to talk to a little bit more on Facebook live and everything. So if you want to click on there, or you can stay on. I'm just going to stay. Let's stay on, because knowing me, I'm going to press a button. I'm going to cut it all off. And then my son will beat me. Okay, guys. So this Thursday, I'm going to have a gentleman on at 7 p.m. for Veterans Day. Y'all need to come hear his story. It is one none of us have dealt with. And I mean, when you're done, you're going to be more than pissed. And then everybody needs to come on and just listen to this. I want y'all to share it, like it, and have everybody start listening to these podcasts. Not just with this Thursday coming up, but this Thursday coming up is going to be a powerful one. But everybody, stay tuned. PM me. Just send me messages. I want to be overloaded. I want guys to come on here. Let's say our piece. Let's talk about it, and let's start helping one another. That's what we're here for. Even though, yes, I was in the Navy, he was in the Army, I got some Marines that are going to really have some fun with me on this, and the Air Force, we're all brothered at arms.
The Air Force,
See, y'all can make fun of the Air Force. Marines can make fun of the Navy.
Yeah.
But, because I had a Marine sniper coming to the barbershop, and he goes, "Hey, Kevin, do you know the Marines are a department of the Navy?" I went, "Yeah." He goes, "The men's." Now, what am I supposed to say that to back to a Marine sniper? Not a damn thing. I just was like, "Oh, okay. I'll go get my high heels and my dress on right now, sir." So, and like John put down here, I understand frustration, squeaky wheel gets the grease, and it does. And with all of us talking, one of my goals is I want to stand in front of Congress and talk to them. I do.
That's a good goal.
Just as, not as advocate, but just as a veteran.
Right.
Yeah, and I as a human being that serve their country so they can be where they're at. That's all I want. I just want them to understand. I don't want to walk around in pain. I don't want my fellow veterans to walk around in pain. I already had one good buddy commit suicide. I don't want that anymore.
Right.
I want all of us, to be able to share the stories, and, we'll help each other out.
Yep. I mean, after all, we are brothers and sisters.
Yes, that's right. And I mean, definitely brother and sisters out there. When they say brother at arms, I understand it. It may have taken a while, but I understand it. We're all in the same boat. That was a Navy joke.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to hear from the Navy guys saying, "Don't you mean ship?" So I thank you for coming on to the program, sharing your story. I think a lot of people are going to be enlightened by this, and I'm really glad that they're going to be helping you out with your neck. And,
thank you.
And we're all going to pray for you, Keith.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and you have to come back and give an update how your neck is
Okay.
after you get better. You know, not
All right.
because I'm going to be like, hey, what's that spider doing on your shoulder? I'm not going to do that to you.
Hell, I won't be able to move. I'll be in a stupid neck brace.
And everything. But I really appreciate it. And for everybody listening to Facebook, I want to thank each and every one of y'all. And I am going to bring Sean on here to talk about his book. And once again, I'm going to bring up his podcast because I want y'all to go listen to this, his From Struggles to Success podcast. It's on Apple. Y'all go check his podcast out also. Let's start helping veterans that are, I almost said below us, that are coming up behind us like we did the Vietnam guys, and the Vietnam guys are helping us out. So let's start helping these guys out and get them where they need to be so they're not suffering like we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. I really appreciate everything you've done, man.
All right. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, happy Veterans Day, and I'll see everybody on Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day.
All right, buddy.
All right. Bye.
Bye. I'm going to thank each and every Gulf War veteran that has listened to this, and I'd also like to thank everybody who is supporting us. I want to take a little bit of time out, and everybody just say a little prayer for Keith because he's going in for surgery. And anytime you go in, you just don't know how you're going to come out. So, you know, God will be with him. Y'all please go to my website at gulfwarsideeffects.wordpress.com or email me at kevinsimon@gulfwarsideeffects.com. And please help support this podcast and the veterans by clicking on the link below. Thank you for your support.